So, back to today's talk. Today, I'll be talking about tax deductible expenses for employee. However, I think when I was doing the writing down what I was going to talk about, I thought, okay, the first thing I need to do is to explain who an employer is in UK. The reason is because everybody has different misconception about I'm an employer or no, I'm not an employer, and it's confusing. And HMRC knows about this as well, so that's why they keep updating their laws on employment or not. However, so today I would first of all talk about who is an employee, so that you can check if you want or not. Now, an employee is someone that has a contract for employment. The reason why they call themselves employees is because first of all, someone is giving them a contract. When you go to work somewhere, they would give you a contract to say you're working with us now, telling you the terms of your work with them. According to the law, they should give you one anyway. I'm not an HR person. However, over the years, because a lot of people would come and probably they won't have to get a contract and they still call themselves employee. So there are different characteristics an employee should have. And then even if you still don't have this characteristic and you're still wondering if you are or not, there are different tests you should actually apply to yourself. While I was preparing this morning, I remember that I wrote something about this some time ago. So if you want to read more, you can go on my on our website, Ronzo's Accountant. There's a blog post on that. I'll post that later on just to help you to understand more. However, I forgot to say this as well. If you'd like to watch any of the videos that we've done previous week, I'm telling you, we've treated a lot of things. Tax in UK, national insurance, pension, just mention it. You can visit my YouTube channel as well, which is Ronzo's Accountant Limited. You can subscribe so that in case you forget to actually watch the subscription thing, you get a notice that I've uploaded. I usually try to upload every live show because of people that would miss the show as well. So some of the characteristics you would have if you are an employee. First of all, like I said, there will be a contract saying that you're an employee. Also, you'd receive salary, or you'd expect your employer to give you salary. You'd have had an agreement of how much they're going to be paying you. Doesn't matter how often you get the money as well. You receive benefits. You're entitled to holiday pay, sick pay. They do different things for you. There's still loads of other characteristics as well. However, if you're not sure, if after checking my blog post, after checking or you're still not sure, there's a basic test that you can take. And this test is called employment test. And this will help you to know if you're an employer or if you're an employee or not. Now, the first one is, do you have a mutual obligation with this employee? The meaning of that is, does the employee expect you to do something? Do they expect you? Do you have an agreement like, I'll come to work Monday to Friday? Even though it's not written down somewhere, when you don't turn up, they're thinking, why is this person not turning up? If you both have a mutual obligation for each other, then you most likely might be one. If you're integrated into a team, so even though if you're an agency and you have the space and everybody sees you as part of the team, they go for team meetings, you go for it, they take you free of charge, you go for team parties. So yeah, kind of you are integrated as part of it. Even though you're not employed, you're still treated as one of them. If your employer tells you a certain way to do your work, so if it's your employer that would say, this is how I want you to do it at this particular time, then you might be an employee. If your employer provides equipment for you, for example, your computer, your laptop, or other things as well, can somebody else turn up to do your work? Is it possible for somebody else to turn up and do your work? If it's not possible for someone to do, for example, as an accountant, I'll feel like if I'm employed somewhere, I don't feel like going to work today, and then I'll send somebody else to go. If you can do this still, you're still looking like an employee rather than not. Do you have any financial risk being in that role? As in, do you expect to be paid exactly the same amount, or you're not sure what would happen tomorrow, next week or something? And then, do you have different paymasters? Is it just this one person that pays you all the time, or you have different people that pay you? Now, I'm sure you'll be wondering that why should I worry myself about this? The reason, like I've always said, is the way they treat tax, both for the tax deduction, the tax you pay, the expenses, the way the national insurance they pay is different if you're an employee or not. So because of that, since we're talking about the tax deductible expenses, that's definitely very, very important as well. So, and also for the expenses part, it's very, very strict for employees to deduct expenses than sole trader. So because of that, you have to be very careful that you're an employee or not before you start claiming expenses. If you're watching this for the very first time, the reason why I keep looking down is because I've written down loads of things I'd like to talk to you about, and I just want to be sure that I'm not forgetting any and making sure that this show is like I would like it to be. Now, the only thing is, if you are employed and there's deductible expenses, you actually so they're different. Like I said, there are different type of expenses. If you're not expected to claim a particular thing because you're not an employee, you'd have to pay tax on it, and most likely your employee would pay national insurance, and depending on how the item was paid for. So that will take me to different types of tax deductible expenses, and the very common one is travel. And I don't know how many times I've spoken about travel several times, and the reason is because this is the most, no, I wouldn't say most common, this is the most frequent one that most employees would excuse me. And the reason is because employees will send their staff somewhere to do stuff, or people that think they are employed, they would want to claim expenses because they think they're allowed to, after all, they're going there to work. But there are certain rules and guidelines to follow before you can actually claim that. Now, whatever travel you're making, it can be private, it has to be solely for business, it has to be solely for the purpose of your work. The reason why you're going to that place is because you're going to go and fulfill a work function there. Now, travel from home to work is not allowed. I know it's very obvious, but a lot of people still do it. When you travel from your house to your workplace, you can't claim the expenses. The only reason why you do this is if the place you're going to work is a temporary place of work, or you're on a placement which has to be less than 2 years. So let's say your boss sends you to go and work. You live probably in Northampton, where I am, and you're supposed to, and that your office base where you were first employed is in Northampton, and then your boss probably have a new place or a contract in London, and then they're sending you from Northampton to London to go and do a particular job. Now, as long as you're not spending more than 2 years in that particular role, then you can claim expenses for traveling going there. So on a normal day, you're not allowed to claim travel from your home to work. The other one is the amount that you're supposed to deduct. Now, the flat rate, the amount that you're allowed to deduct tax-free is 45p. Now, 45p for the first 10,000 mileage that you do, that's if you're claiming mileage, and then 25p for the next 10 for anything over the £10,000. So to be able to do this, you have to make sure that you're keeping enough records. I'm sure your employer would want to see it anyway, but just to be safe, you keep a record of what you've the journey you've made, and etc. Now, the main one, the other one again, is sustenance. Sustenance is the expenses that is associated with a particular travel. For example, the food you eat when you're on a particular assignment, or if it's an overnight stay, you need to stay in an hotel. That's actually deductible expense. It's allowed for you to deduct that. The reason is because the reason why you're eating that food is because you have to go to that particular place, travel to do the particular work, and the reason why you're sleeping in the hotel is because of the work you're doing as well. Now, the only thing about that as well is you have to be reasonable with whatever you're spending. Reasonable is your judgment, and then you don't go and be having wine and trying to claim receipt of food with wine. That's not allowed either. Now, so for you to claim that sustenance, like I said, it has to be associated with a particular journey. You can't just claim randomly. And also, actually, I was to give an example, which that made me smile. you can't prepare a sandwich from your house and then want to actually claim that expense from and say the sandwich is worth £2, so employer give him back. There must actually be a cost associated to that particular journey. And it's still the same way of, you can't go and sleep in a friend's place and then try, especially if the friend is not charging you, and then try to claim the expense and use the money for yourself. There must actually be a cost. You must have actually spent the money before you can actually claim the relief. So another expense you can claim as an employee is living accommodation. And I've seen this several times when people try to claim the whole amount of their living accommodation because they're working in a particular room. The only time you're allowed to claim this is if three conditions are met. The first one is it is necessary for the job. It's a necessity for the job. I know you could say, yeah, I need to sleep in my house to go to work. But however, the stance is if you don't go to work, won't you sleep? You sleep somewhere. So it must be a necessity. And in such case, probably you don't have a choice. You just have to be living in that particular place, probably because of the role. For example, maybe people that do living or living care, or people that do security jobs or etc. Now, the reason why you're claiming, that's the second one now, the reason why you're claiming the expenses is so as to help you to perform your job better. So then you can claim living accommodation expense as well. Another reason is to provide security. To provide security, probably the best example that comes to me is people that have political positions. So they have to actually claim the expense for them to be, they have to actually live in the accommodation for there to be security. So now the next one again that you can claim as an employee is professional fees and subscription. Now professional fees is what you pay to be a part of a particular association, and you need to be a member of that association for you to be able to do the job you're doing. For example, accountant. I am a member of ACCA, which is Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. Every year we pay a certain amount, and that's not just the only one that I am a member of, several other ones as well, and then you need to pay that money. However, I can't work as a chartered accountant without paying that subscription. Another example is a nurse as well. They need to pay for Royal College of Nursing, they need to pay other subscription, and if they don't pay those subscriptions, they can't work as a nurse. So because of that, you can actually claim these expenses. And you'll be surprised a lot of people that are still not claiming this. I see this all the time. And you could say, oh, my employees should have just added it to it. No. If your employee is not adding it to it, you should call HMRC and say, I work in such a place, I'm a member of this association, I want to claim these expenses. And the good thing about that is if you've not claimed it for the last 4 years, you can actually claim it this year. And you can say, oh, it's not a lot of money, but every little helps if you want to use some Tesco's advert. Even if it's just £10, £20, £30, £40. Imagine a lot of pizza you can order with £40. So yeah, that's my imagination quickly. However, the association must be an approved one. So it's not just any association that you can use. Also, you can claim things like professional indemnity insurance, or any fees that you've paid just because of the particular job you're doing. As long as it's an approved one, then definitely you can deduct it. Also, your employer can pay for course trainings, and then you can deduct that as an expense as well. The only condition for this is that training must not be of capital nature. It must be something that you need to do to be able to help you to be better in the performance of your current job, not to add a new qualification to what you have already, because that is something that would last you forever. Now, another one is people that actually claim that work from home. So if you work from home, you can actually claim an expense, deductible expense for you for working from home. There's a particular rate that you can apply. However, the only condition for that as well is the job must not be you working from home must not be as a result of you making the arrangement with your employer. So, for example, let's say your contract is a flexible contract, and part of the conditions of working as a flexible worker is you working from home. because you have that particular arrangement with your employer, you can't then just go and start claiming use of home expenses again, because the reason, part of the reason why you have the amount that you're being paid now, or you have the arrangement, everything is because you're working from home. So your employer must have factored some of this fact in by giving you the amount they're paying you already. So apart from that, if it's just something that is not arranged, or if it's something that you're just doing randomly, then you can claim working from home as an expense. If you want to know more about this, the exact amount that you can claim, you can go on gov.uk and claim working from home. So I've got a blog post as well on working from home too. If you want to read that, you can read that from rontusaccountant.co.uk. Now, another thing is uniform and working. I'm checking the time. I'm sure I'm running out of time. Uniform or working clothing or tools. This is very interesting as well, because apart from the fact that people that know about it claim too much at times, people don't even know about it and they don't claim at all. Now, the people that claim too much, so the purpose of, I'll start from the purpose. The purpose of that allowance is for you to help you to claim your uniform. That uniform must be a uniform that is specialized clothing. Now, there was a case law in court where a lawyer was trying to claim as expense for getting a suit, and the result of that case was, yes, the suit was helping you to do the job you're trying to do. However, if you're not working as a lawyer, you still need to wear clothes, and therefore that suit was not just doing one thing, it was doing more than one thing, and was disallowed. So for you to not put yourself into proper problem, it has to be specialist clothing. That's uniform. Specialist clothing is anything that you can't just wear out for other times. So let's say you can't just wear, I know I've got loads of t-shirt that has Ronzo's accounts and all, so maybe that could claim, because I can't wear that to party, can I? Yeah, so it has to be a specialist clothing. Now, the purpose of the money is not to, although your employer can pay for the uniform itself, however, the reason why you're claiming this expense is to actually clean it. What I've seen is people would say, oh, it cost me £2,000 to clean my uniform. Fair play. The only thing I then say is, do you have a proof that you've spent £2,000, £1,000 to wash your uniform? The proof is you've bought electricity just to wash your uniform. You can apportion your electricity in such a way that this is how much I've used in my electricity to wash my clothes. All this washing powder I've bought is everything I've used is just to wash my uniform. If you're that meticulous and you've done this systematically, or even just take your uniform to laundry mat or something, yes, why not? You can claim it. However, my advice for people that can't do that is claim the flat rate. I know the flat rate looks a little at times, but like I just said, even if it's £20, that's a lot of. I do a lot of food bank shopping at times, and you'll be surprised what £20 would buy in the shop. You'll be surprised what £20 can do to you. So when you're not claiming it, then you're missing out somehow. So I usually advise that claim the flat rate to play safe, and to know that, and what they've done is for every different careers, jobs, there's different type of amount that you can claim. If you want to know the exact amount that relates to you, you can go to gov.uk / job expenses uniform. I'm sure it will come out somewhere. Google is very fantastic. So then for the tools, it's for replacing or repairing small tools, not for getting the initial one. So you have to be very careful as well. So there are different rates for different ones, and then if you can just get this, then you are not missing out. Now, in conclusion, because I know my time is running out, the good thing about personal taxes, if you should have claimed something in the last 4 years, you can go back and claim it now. The easiest way of doing this, I know I keep saying easiest way, but really it's not really the easiest way. The easiest way of doing it is calling HMRC on the phone and telling them about all this that you paid for or not paid for, and then what they'll do is either they refund the money now, or they'll adjust your tax code in such a way that you enjoy the relief within this tax year. even though it's 4 years, except if it's like £2,000 plus, then they'll probably give you the cash anyway. However, that's the easiest way. Or you can get professional help to help you to claim this relief. But what I don't want you to do, and I've seen this a lot all the time, I understand we all need money, we all like money that we're not expecting, and then we enjoy it. I remember one year I had to literally argue with someone that I've been acting for several years, and I know she wasn't due for any claim back or anything, and she kept saying, my friend claimed this amount, and I was like, I'm sorry, you're not entitled to it, because you know what HMRC does, and it's very annoying. They will pay you this money, they won't argue with you initially. They'll pay you the money you're trying to claim, and then they will come back and ask for the same money again, and then you've spent the money, and then you need to pay the money back, especially if it's not actually happened. So a lot of people have helped them to claim for money when they shouldn't have, and then they pay the money back when they spent the money, and it's annoying. Except if you want to look at it in a way like they're giving you a loan and you then need to pay back the loan, which is not even funny still, but it is what it is. So be careful with what you're claiming. Call HMRC if you think you are due for some money, or get professional help. You can go as far back as 4 years, but don't claim for something that you're not entitled to. So if you want to read more, I've got loads of blog posts on my website. I've got loads of video on my YouTube channel, but if you have a question, you can send me an email and I would answer it. I think my time is almost up. Yeah, I think so. However, I'm having a very fantastic weekend. I know it sounds very quick one, but I'm going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday talking about tax, hanging out with other tax people. So I'm looking forward to it, like all weekend talking tax, reading tax, listening to tax lectures. So hopefully I'll be able to tell you some more about this or get more videos out of it as well. However, I wish you a very fantastic weekend. Hopefully it won't be too cold, because cold is coming gradually. And hopefully I hope you've learned something from this. I know most people that watch this as a recorded program. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Ola Sulaimon. Thank you.